if anyone wishes to speak on an agenda item, please complete. Say again. Oh, we haven't got to that part yet. You was reading the intro.
I was so ready to get out of here.
Yes, ma'am. We're on our way. All right. If anyone wants to speak on the agenda item, please complete a public comment card and give it to the planning and zoning staff prior to the board discussion and before the public comment section is announced. In no event will anyone be allowed to submit a comment card to speak on the agenda item after the title of the item has been read or considered. The total time allotted for each member of the public to comment on each item is 3 minutes. Item one, let's start with a moment of silence. Let's have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Renee Burgess, District 1. To the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, may we please have a roll call?
Board Member Lucy Joseph. Present. Board Member James Gallen.
Here.
Board Member Anthony Brown.
Present.
Board Member Margaret Shepherd. Board Member Renee Burgess. Here. Vice Chair Frank Fernandez.
Here.
Chair Wiley.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Right.
Um,
Any acknowledge? Yes, ma'am.
The voting members for tonight will be, District 5 will be Miss Lucy Joseph until that seat is filled. Chair Wiley, Vice Chair Fernandez, Board Member Renee Burgess, Board Member Margaret Shepherd.
Acknowledgement of any board member absence notification.
None, Chair.
Acknowledgement of board member vacant positions.
Vacant positions, Chair, is District 5, District 2 alternate, District 4 alternate.
Okay, on to number 3. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Mr. Chair,
So will we? Yes.
is this the part where I can ask for us to kind of reorganize the agenda?
Yes, ma'am. What would you like?
Well, due to the fact that we have safe harbor here and this is such a short plaque request, can we do them first? Because I think with the fire department, we're going to be here a little bit longer.
I think that's a great idea. Would we like to go to a vote or will we handle it?
Mr. Chair, you could get a motion to amend the agenda like that and then have a vote.
Do we have a motion?
Your motion? Your motion to switch, correct, 7B and 7A?
Yes.
I second.
It has been properly motioned and second. Are we ready for the vote, Chair?
Yes.
Board Member Burgess,
No.
Board Member Lucy Joseph,
Yes.
Board Member Margaret Shepherd,
Yes.
Board Vice Chair Frank Fernandez,
Yes.
Chair Wiley.
Yes.
The vote passes with Board Member Burgess dissenting.
All right, on to number 4, disclosure by board members.
None, Chair.
Adoption of the agenda.
Chair, I move for the adoption of the agenda as stated with the changes stated.
I second.
It has been properly motioned and second. Are we ready for the vote, Chair?
Yes.
Board Member Joseph,
Yes.
Board Member Burgess,
No.
Board Member Margaret Shepherd,
Yes.
Vice Chair Frank Fernandez,
Yes.
Chair Wiley.
Yes.
The vote passes with Board Member Burgess dissenting.
All right, section 5, approval minutes.
Chair.
Yes, sir.
I reviewed the minutes with Ms. Weathers. The March 13th, 2025 minutes are incomplete. There's only 2 pages. So she will get back to the transcription company and figure out what the issue was. So the only one we have is April 10th, 2025.
So no approval, so we'll push.
So, Mr. Chair, you have two options. You can either just approve the April 10th minutes at this time. You can call for a motion for that purpose, or you can table the issue of minutes altogether until the next meeting.
Well, I suggest that we table it, but let's go to a vote so my other members have a say so.
The issue if we just approve just one. Is there a problem with that?
There's no legal issue with just approving the April minutes and coming back at a later meeting to approve the minutes once they're complete. But it's the board's pleasure.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I definitely don't see anything wrong with just approving what we have now and come back. Instead of doing all that legwork, we can just approve what we have now. Because I did read them, and I did see that portion that was missed.
Right, so I guess let's go to a vote.
Oh, can we have a motion to just accept the April 10th, 2025 morning meeting minutes? We have a second?
Joseph seconds. It has been properly motioned and second. Are we ready for the vote, Chair?
Yes.
Board Member Shepherd?
Yes.
Board Member Joseph?
Yes.
Board Member Burgess?
Yes.
Board Vice Chair Fernandez?
Yes.
Chair Wiley?
Yes.
The vote passes to approve and review April 10th, meeting 2025.
We're on to number 6, unfinished business.
None, Chair.
On to number 7, new business. 7B.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving plat application PA-24-0006 for Safe Harbor Rybovich to replat approximately 18.72 acres plus minus 815-367 square feet of contiguous lots of record into a single parcel in support of the related site plan application SP-24-0020, providing for an effective date and for other purposes. The presenter will be Senior Planner Juan Suarez.
Hello, everybody. So this is a replat request from Safe Harbor to combine 19 parcels into single one. Plat application is PA 24006. So here we can see project location. Here are the 19 parcels. They are consolidating. Here we can see an aerial of all the 19 parcels. They are combining into one single property. Here is the plat itself, showing the 19 parcels now combined. Staff analysis. All disciplines review this project and deem it code compliant. Zoning approved, utilities, engineering, fire, CRA. And here's the date they did so. So staff analysis. The proposed replat, which consolidates 19 existing parcels into a single unified property, has been reviewed for compliance with Chapter 177 of the Florida Statutes and Chapter 30 Subdivision Regulations. Our third-party reviewer, Ingenuity Group, is the one who reviewed for compliance. This is the letter establishing that it was reviewed and approved. Zoning analysis. So the plat application has been reviewed and found in compliance with Division 26, the Downtown Zoning District, specifically with Section 31-536, regulations for each zoning district. The zoning districts are actually Downtown Core and Downtown Marine. Recommendation for staff. City staff has reviewed the replat application PA 24006 and recommends to the Planning and Zoning Board, advises City Council to approve this replat application. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. Do we have any comment cards on this section?
No, sir.
All right. Do we have any comments by the board?
Chair, I just have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I believe our attorney clarified this. I just want to confirm. Although the alternates are not non-voting members, they can still ask questions. Am I correct, ma'am?
Yes, there's no issue with them participating in discussion, as has been the practice, regular practice of this board.
Thank you.
All right, so, do we have any comments, Ms. Shepherd? I'll start on your end.
Mr. Pinkney, I know we're just talking about the replat, but, are you all gonna, I see where you're roping off 22nd Street and C. Are you all gonna rope off the rest of that?
So first, Mr. Chairman, Richard Pinsky Associates on behalf of the applicant, Safe Harbor. With me is Mario Byrne, who's general manager of both the West Palm Beach facility and Riviera Beach facility. So Commissioner Shepherd, you're talking about the just north of the red line. So as you remember, that was an area that the neighbors immediately to the north were always concerned about that parcel. So the reason why the replat is taking place, stopping at 22nd Street, is because we don't know what the future, it's not going to be for marina use. And so what happens, we've talked to the city about some possible uses the city would like to see. We're always talking to the neighborhood. So that is an area that is right now, it's a buffer. It's being maintained. Neighbors are walking their dogs and enjoying it right now. So that's why we are, for the future, planning on just the replat of where the core marina activity will take place. And as you know, for the last 10 years or more than 10 years, when the Huizinga Holdings had Rybovich, they assembled a number of those 19 parcels. Safe Harbor separately was also assembling some of those 19 parcels. And then after Safe Harbor took over Rybovich from Huizinga, they also purchased property on Broadway. And so over time, it is those 19 different parcels that are being consolidated. And but Safe Harbor is committed to Riviera Beach. They're moving out of West Palm Beach. That plan has not changed. We bought the building, or the old bank building across the street. And so we continue to expand the footprint in Riviera Beach. Happy to be here, proud to be here, bringing more jobs into the community, and really excited about it.
Okay, that was good. The parking, I noticed now with these T-shirts and everything with that big rope off around 22nd, is it C Avenue? Where the parking gonna be? I know we're talking about the replat, but I'm trying to get a clear picture of what's happening now.
Right. So as part of the site plan that is going through, that has just been approved and went through the process, there is a consolidation of the parking that would accommodate both Newport Cove, and there's an obligation as a longstanding obligation with Viking to accommodate parking. So all the parking is going to be contained in the core marine operation. There'll be nothing outside of that red line.
So people from these T-shirt, the boatyard, they have to park down
Well,
in that area.
yeah, so the T-shirt still has the same challenges they've had all along. And we're actually providing, I think it's, don't quote me on this, but I think it's 3 new spaces for them with this configuration, but it's limited and they still have challenges. But
Still challenges.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Joseph?
Comment?
Ms. Fernandez?
Yes. Mr. Pinsky, I am sure maybe that area that you were just talking about where the community walks through and walks the little dog, picture a nice community park area with a Safe Harbor, Blackstone infrastructure, little art monument. I'm just, get them a nice little area so that the residents would like to walk their dogs, maybe have a little park setting. Just a humble suggestion.
Very
Okay,
humble.
good
Mr.
for you.
Chairman, through the chair, I would respond with everything is on the table.
Thank you.
Ms. Burgess?
No, much like Mr. Fernandez's comments, I was going to ask about any planned neighborhood enhancements.
And to confirm again, we've actually, without disclosing too much, we actually have been discussing and continue to discuss with the city manager some combined, what would benefit the city as well as the residents to the north. So nothing is ready for prime time yet, but I think the community will be very happy.
So nothing set in stone, but you're not against it.
Oh, no. And that is why it has not been included in the core marine activity and why the replat stops at 22nd.
All right, thank you. Those are my questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Gallen?
No questions.
And Mr. Brown?
No comments, Mr. Chair.
All right, would like to go to a vote?
I motion to approve the replat application PA 240006 as read into the record by Ms. Weathers and explained thoroughly by City Planner Suarez.
I second it.
It has been properly moved in second. Are you ready for the vote, Chair?
Yes.
Board Member Burgess,
You first.
No pressure.
I'm looking at the faces. Yes.
Board Member Joseph? Yes. Board Member Shepherd,
Yes.
Vice Chair Fernandez,
Yes.
Chair Wiley.
Yes.
The vote passes unanimously, Chair.
Anytime. If we don't get the community parking, Shepherd's gonna be knocking on your door. I'm telling you.
Well, I live there, I always knock on their door.
Thank you.
All right, so on to 7A.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving the site plan application for SP-24-0028 by the City of Riviera Beach for approval to allow for a proposed new fire station 87 on the property located at 5010 North Ocean Drive. Parcel control number is 56 43 42 22 01 000 -0011 and 5020 North Ocean Drive. Parcel control number 56 43 42 22 01 000-0021 in the city of Riviera Beach, providing for conditions of approval, providing for an effective date for other purposes. The presenter will be Senior Planner Juan Suarez.
So here's the request for Fire Station 86, site plan SP 240028. The request for the applicant is a site plan approval to construct a new municipal fire station in a water infrastructure facility at 5010 and 5020 North Ocean Drive. This request will be for the replacing of the aging fire station number 86 and an existing water storage tank. So the proposal development includes as well a 3-story, 2-bay fire station, a new 1 million water tank with a companion of pump room building. The architecture design is inspired on the old Florida style, and it will be consistent with the Riviera Beach Marina Village Center. You can see the location of the project. Here's an aerial of Fire Station 86. You can see the water tank, and here the building. This is North Ocean Drive. The adjacent zoning districts, we can see north, we have residential, high-density multifamily dwelling. East, high-density multifamily dwelling. West, we have special preservation, and south, we have high-density multifamily dwelling. This is the current location of Fire Station 86. This is the current condition of the water tank. This is the proposed site plan. We can see here will be the new building and the new water tank, parking on top. North Ocean Drive. The proposed landscaping. There's a wetland and the property that will not be affected by the project. Proposed elevations. This is how it will look. Our proposed design. North elevations. East and west elevations. Now we have some renderings. The old Florida aesthetics. Now we can see it next to the water tank, the new water tank with the new logo. Once again. So staff review. After an extensive review by multiple city departments, this project was found to be consistent with the city comprehensive plan and the code of ordinance, and now is ready for the board's consideration and action. Recommendations from staff. Staff recommends to the Planning and Zoning Board to recommend to the City Council the approval of site plan SP 240028 related with Fire Station 86. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you.
With
Do we have
us, we have the architecture firm and the construction firm. They will be presenting as well.
Okay.
So let me just organize the presentation.
Could you go back to that picture of the, okay, right there. Go back. Go back to the next one. Not, yeah, that, what is the, is that just the logo there, or is that a building there? Right there, right
Oh,
there.
here?
What is that?
So the pump, there will be the proposed pump house, the tank, and the fire station itself.
No, that's a fire station there. What is, yeah, right there. What is that?
It's the pump house.
Oh, the okay. Oh,
Mm.
okay, I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Okay, and how many, I'm sorry, I didn't ask
Okay,
the
go ahead, Ms.
chair.
Shepherd.
So what's in there? The pump house and? Electrical equipment. Oh, okay, well, it's nice. It looks, okay. Okay.
Can I ask, what was the idea of the different rendering?
The different, what
Mr.
Right,
Chair?
the style.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
We had actually asked the architect to be here to answer. So
Okay.
perhaps they could just give a brief overview, and then they'll be available to whatever
Okay,
questions
okay.
the board has.
Before, excuse me,
I mean, I
Mr.
like it.
Chair, before they come, could Chief Kurt just ask a couple of questions? Because I was over to the fire station on the island. I want to make sure. Can you come here, Chief Kurt? I want to make sure this is the same place. Is this the same fireplace we visited? And you were showing us what it looked like inside?
Yes, ma'am. This is the same original location. We looked at alternate locations due to cost and property availability on Singer Island. It was determined that we wanted to stay in the original location. So we are rebuilding in the same exact location. However, it's kind of a delicate dance because we have a 1 million gallon water tank. That water tank provides supplemental water and additional pressure to the north end of the island. That tank can't come out of service. So the intent is to tear down the fire station, build the new tank first, get it up and running to support the residents to the north end of the island. When it's up and running, then tear down the old water tank and build the fire station there. So it's the same property, but we're flip-flopping locations from the water tank and the fire station on the same property.
Okay, I want to make sure that was the same place.
Yes,
because
ma'am, it
I
is.
passed by it, lost it, but then they said Mr. Evans was riding on a bike. So I wanted to make sure this was the same date and time that our city manager is riding a bike from where I have no idea with 100 degrees, but that was the day. Am I correct? That is the day. Okay, I want to know, Mr. Evans. Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
My name is Jess Sowards, Principal Architect with Curry Sowards Aguilar Architects. We're proud to be the architects, part of the design build team with Kaufman Lynn for the third station for the community of Riviera Beach. These are the team members that's associated with this project. Of course, the owner is the city. The owner's rep is All Site. And I mentioned with Kaufman Land, we are the design builder team. Same process that we did with the station 88 and 87. And our engineers and landscape architect and environmental consultant. So that's our team. So Chief Kurt touched on a little bit of what I was going to talk about. This was a very difficult site because we were keeping the station at the same location along with the water tank, a 1 million gallon water tank, trying to logistically keep everything in operation all on this postage stamp site. So what you see in the red, that's only part of our site. All of this is wetlands. So we're working within the jurisdictional wetland area, which is primarily in this red box. So we really don't have much to work with. And so one of the things that with fire station design is we want to have drive-through based, fire stations, right? So we don't want the apparatus pulling up on A1A trying to back into the station. There's so many dangers and multiple reasons involved with that. So as Chief Curd mentioned, the next phase is the water tank has to stay in operation. The fire station has to come out, so they're going to be building temporary facilities while this comes out. So we still maintain service for the city. While this is in operation, the new water tank is going to go in this area along with the pump house that you were asking what that building was. So that's going to go in the front. So I think, let's go on to the site plan. So that pump house is right here. So that contains 3 pumps, the electrical room, generator. So in case power goes down, we got to maintain our water. So the generator is in this room. We got to have clearances within our zone for the construction of this, of the water tank. And this is the drive aisle that brings you around to the drive-through station. So once the pump house and the tank goes online, the existing tank and pump house will be taken off, and then we can construct the fire station. So a lot of logistics, a lot of time and effort went in to try to fit everything that we needed to work for the city within this site. So therefore, we have a 2-base station. It's a little over 16,000 square feet. So it's 3 stories. So basically the main firehouse components are on the ground floor. And then the upper floor directly above the apparatus bays are all the living situation. So this is the phasing. So you can see a little bit more in the red. And this is, we've got a little retaining wall that we're going to construct to protect the wetlands. The parking's over here. So this is phase 1. We've got electrical we have to deal with, transformers going in this location. So we've had a lot of fun. Kaufman Lynn's been awesome in trying to figure out the logistics of the phasing. And then this was a rendering of what the fire station would look like from A1A. And of course, you saw this before too. Whoops, going back. Oh, that does work. That does work. So the water tank bond, and this is the pump house. So we're trying to keep it all compatible and that vernacular going together, working together. We think it's a very handsome facade, something that represents the old Florida style that the the original settlement had here on Singer Island. And we think it's a lot of variety, a lot of interest. And I think there was a rendering that we had, yeah, from the waterway as well. And then we do have a fly round. Do I hit enter again? Oh, there we go. So all the rooftop equipment's going to be screened. So we created these wells within the roof lines. We kept the tank as low as we possibly could by still maintaining access around the tank for the apparatus to get around it. And we also think from the residents in the towers to the east that they have something actually nice to look down onto. So that was an important aspect of the pitched roofs, et cetera, that they weren't looking on a flat roof with just equipment, et cetera. So there's a little bit more interest involved there. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, do we have any, I guess we can wait till the end, complete, till everyone speaks, correct? Can we wait till everyone speaks for the comment cards, or can we just do it after each one?
We only have one comment card, Chair.
Okay,
We have a comment card from Mr. Scott Lewis.
Scott Lewis at 256 East 22nd. I've gone to the city meetings quite a bit. I haven't, I've gone to a couple of yours, but the first two fire stations really upset me because they were $25 million apiece, which was twice as much, more than twice as much as Palm Beach County, who just opened a fire station at $12 million. But when I look at this one, and it is a substation, it will not be housed in a Category 5 because there's a mandatory evacuation, so you don't need the strength requirements up to the ones out west. The third story, I mean, what I don't want to see is another sauna and pickleball court paid for by taxpayers over here also. Sure, if people on Singer Island, rich folks, want to pay for the deluxe Palm Beach style, good luck. Third floor, why? How much living space do 6 firemen, employees, need? Right? Do they need all of that? And that's things that I want people that are on committees and elected to start looking at costs. Because somehow this city, the costs go crazy on everything. The town of Palm Beach has a 3-story fire station. It's 80 years old. They would have done away with a 3rd floor if they could, but they had to squish it on a small, expensive property. They just renovated $17 million. I mean, everything in the whole county. This is the most expensive project in all of Palm Beach County. There's 100 fire stations. And Riviera, which is not a rich city, it's on the bottom % of the cities in Palm Beach County, the taxpayers and eventually are going to have to pay for all this. This is a mortgage future. And I want to start looking at cost. Yes, I understand it should look pretty. Would that look any different? It would still look pretty without that 3rd floor. That's probably a couple $1 million addition. Why? Well, maybe they want to look at the ocean, see the beach, your employees. Taxpayers don't need to pay for the employees to have a beach view. Right? Please be more cautious on that, on government projects, because we all suffer from it. And I'm not worried about myself. I can afford the payments. But there are tens of thousands of residents that will not be able to afford the future that's coming at them because of all these bond issues and costs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
any more?
No, sir, no other comment cards.
All right. Will someone else be coming up to speak, or will it be to the board to make comments?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I believe that concludes the presentation by staff and the applicant.
Okay.
But of course, they're here to answer any questions if you wanted to begin your discussion.
All right. We'll start on the opposite end this time. We'll start.
Chair,
Yes.
I would like for someone to speak to the questions that were just raised by the resident. Staff?
Good evening, everyone. John Kurd, Fire Chief. Let's talk a little bit about this station. Some of the information you heard tonight is not accurate. I am very intimately involved with Palm Beach County Fire Rescues and their stations as I've helped them design several of their new stations. The last station that came out of the ground over in, what's that community, Westlake? That was a $12 million station that was priced and bid before COVID, and it took almost 3 years to complete that station. Their next three stations coming out of the ground are respectively 19, 20, and $21 million. Those are the next three stations that they're building, and I've been working with them to try to bring some of these features to help out our firefighters and incorporate station design into the health, safety, and wellness. This station here is going to be a very unique station. This is the first station being built after Hurricane Ian. FEMA put out a very extensive report on what municipal fire stations and municipal buildings should look like on a barrier island. Some of the things that you won't see in this station, well, first of all, when you look at the station, you look at the whole cost of the project, the station itself is 15 million. So that's the cost of the fire station. There is a considerable cost for the water tank. But this station, when you look at the property, some of the costs associated with it is the elevation's got to come up 7 foot. So if you're standing on our station's floor right now, 7 foot above your head is where the new floor is going to be. Because of the wetlands, we have the seawalls that need to be built. These are all escalating costs associated with it. We also have significant costs in the water tank. I know there's pilings that have to run down some 20, I'm sorry, 25, 45 foot is what we have to run these pilings down at. I don't think a lot of people realize that this part of Singer Island was never really part of the island. There was sand that was brought in to make the island, so those contribute to the cost. When we look at the 3 stories, with FEMA's guidance on municipal buildings, when you build a station on a barrier island that's within the flood zone that this station is located in, the first floor is basically, for lack of better terms, a throwaway floor. When we have a 7, 8, 10, 12-foot storm surge, this station is designed to allow the water to flow through the first floor with louvers and special water containment systems so that once the water recedes, we can go back in and inhabit the station. All of the HVAC, mechanical and plumbing is all on the 2nd, 3rd story and on the roof. And really, when you look at the station, the first floor is your operational floor. That's where your trucks are. That's where your equipment is. The 2nd floor, the only thing that's on it are 6 individual bunk rooms. There is nothing more, and some bathrooms. There is nothing more or nothing less on the 2nd floor. The 3rd floor, day room, kitchen, office space, report writing rooms, narcotic and drug storage rooms. That's what exists on the 3rd floor. I would have preferred not to have a 3-story station, but this site didn't allow me the opportunity to do different things. And based on the configuration, the reports that have come out after Ian, this design here will serve the residents well for the next 50 to 75 years. So hopefully that kind of explains some of the costs associated with it, and some of the other features. You know, it's very easy to sit up here and say, oh, the fire department has a sauna. We're not in there with white towels and rocks. It's a bicycle in a room that's about this big for you to sweat out heavy metal toxins that you were exposed to after a residential structure fire or a high-rise structure fire. These are the studies that have shown the detoxification benefits of the sauna, and the sauna itself is no more than a box about the size of a closet. And again, we've had firefighters die of cancer. We have cancer initiatives in the state of Florida. The governor has just signed additional legislation which are unfunded mandates on the fire service throughout the state of Florida that we're going to have to contend with as well. But I have to tell you that Highland Beach just built a 2-story station, and actually, I believe Kaufman Lynn was the builder. What was the price on Highland Beach's Barrier Island station that I would assume is about the equivalent size of this station? $13 million on and this is $15 million. We're in the market with what the market is today. Am I happy about it? No. And with tariffs coming, is it going to get worse? Yes. This station will increase exponentially in cost over the next 3 to 5 years. It's the world we live in, and it's an ugly world, but unfortunately, our station is at the end of life. And this station here will complete Riviera Beach's infrastructure improvements to its fire rescue services that won't have to be dealt with again by this board for the next 50 to 75 years.
Thank you for that, Chief. I'll add while you're still there at the podium. So I'm sure you can understand a resident's concern by asking those questions, right?
Absolutely.
About the cost. So what you're basically saying, there's no per se extra fluff, unnecessary things that could be cut back. What we have and what we're getting is what we need.
Unequivocally, without question.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Jonathan Evans, City Manager. One of the things I also want to make the board aware of it, when we did have conversations about this fire station and its location, we did have other options and other alternatives that we looked at. Originally, when it was contemplated for Fire Station 86, we looked at the area at the Ocean Park, right? And we looked in having the fire station relocated there for the purposes of, we have some property, we can facilitate the construction, we could be able to build a 3-bay station, which this is 2 bays, and we were met with significant opposition from the community, so much so that we pivoted and we actually constructed Fire Station 87 first. Fire Station 86 was supposed to be constructed at the same time Fire Station 88 was supposed to be constructed. We also looked at alternative locations to acquire property. And when we did have conversations with the owner of the bank, I believe that was the bank that was maybe Wells Fargo or the adjacent bank, one of the two, the property acquisition cost was $10 million for the site. So we had to pivot to this particular site and build a station in its existing location. This site, as previously discussed, is significantly complicated as it relates to its construction, so there is some more cost associated. But the other thing about it is, and I don't want to be dismissive about it, the men and women that serve in public safety, especially in those facilities, at a moment's notice, are willing to give their last full measure to the community, irrespective of what the duties and responsibilities of the calls are. So when the tones go off, they leave with an understanding that they may not go back to their families. So when we build facilities that can accommodate the workforce, that are 21st century in nature. And the other side of it is, how do we keep and retain fire personnel? Before we went down this venture to build fire facilities, the chief can tell you, and you can Google it for yourself, we were losing firefighters. We had firefighters hospitalized. We had firefighters that we tore down the old Fire Station 88 after the city put almost $250,000 to remediate all the mold. The fire personnel said, mental health, for our own conscience, we do not believe that we can go back into that facility and operate. We have had our fire personnel operate out of trailers, out of portable restrooms, with an awning in the back of the public works facility. This is the last fire station that the city of Riviera Beach will build in the next 50 years. Fire Station 88, nobody mentions that by us building Fire Station 88 and consolidating the fire companies that we have from 89 and 88, we saved the taxpayer $20+ million for the construction of a new facility. So when we do have this conversation, we want to make sure that it's contextual and all the information is provided. Plus, we do have an owner's rep that their job is to advocate on behalf of the city to push back on the contractors. And I will tell you, every facility that the city of Riviera Beach has come out of the ground with is an award-winning facility that has been highlighted and spoken about across this nation. So it's a lot to be proud about when previously we had facilities that we didn't want anyone to know about. So, Mr. Chair, that concludes my comments.
I have a question for city manager. You said you guys have an owner's rep?
Yes, we have an owner's rep that their job is to look at construction costs, look at constructability, to work along with staff to push back on those issues. If in fact the contractor is saying, hey, we need to do this, well, no, we don't need to do this, or the cost is too. So we have another set of eyes that works on behalf of the city to help resolve any of those particular issues and provide direction to staff to say, hey, there's a better option or there's better alternatives. So yes, for our capital projects, we do have owners reps.
Okay, those owners rep are employees of the city?
No,
or-
they are a third-party contractual provider.
Okay, thank you.
Chief Kurt, I have a question for you real quick. For the location that's there for the fire station, and the reason why I was asking about the architecture, I was wondering, was the rendering set up by an idea by the architecture, or was that something that the people within the community kind of suggested, or you gave suggestions to them and they kind of gave their votes in on what they wanted for that, or was that just the ideal for the architecture to be able to do it that way?
So when this all started some 4 or 5 years ago, when we were doing our community charrettes on all of our different facilities, and even when we met with the community in these stations, when we talked about design, they wanted to keep a beachy Florida theme. That was the direction that was given to the architects. Actually, this has been revised half a dozen times. That's generous, to get that look that we felt, and working with the council member of that district and him speaking with his constituents, this was a design that kind of, you're never going to satisfy everybody, but meets those requirements of a old Florida Key West style building, and that's the direction we were given.
Right. One other question. With the size of the fire station and the water plant there, looking at the picture there or how it's rendered, it looks like the area of the wetland that's there. Let's just say, for example, we could not put that fire station there. Nothing else could go in that area, could it? Without severe renovations.
I don't think that the size of that property would allow for anything else to be built there without impacting the wetlands.
Right. That's what I was wondering, because looking at the size there and looking at the picture that was there, it looked like it would be a lot of changes made for it to be
It's about the size of this room.
Right.
3 stories high. You can't build a lot there. It's really not a buildable property, especially when you have the water tank and the water pump house that must remain unequivocally. Please understand me. Must remain for fire prevention services to the north end of the island. It doesn't leave much else for anything.
So this is pretty much an ideal area for the fire station.
Is the best option we have.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Any more questions about the board? Ms. Shepherd?
Mr. Kurt, while you're standing there,
Yes, ma'am.
sidewalks,
Yes, ma'am.
are there going to be sidewalks in that?
Yes, ma'am. There is going to be a sidewalk that's going to go across. We actually also are going to have a bench out front. We're going to have areas where people can chain their bike to if they want to sit at the bench. But there will be a sidewalk that goes across. It's just not visualized in that rendering.
Okay, like, I think, is it Station 88 off of Blue Heron? Is that Station 88?
On Blue Heron,
I'm talking about one.
Congress?
600 Blue Heron where the,
Yes, ma'am. Station 87.
it's, okay, they were talking about a sauna in there and pickleball, whatever. Are you gonna have any type of activities at this, particular station?
No, the crews all come into Station 87. They will have an area for them to work out in. There will be a treadmill, there will be a Stairmaster, and some weights for them to lift in. But as far as there may be a basketball goal that's put up in the back, but no, it won't have anything of the like.
Okay, now I was over there, I was laughing at Mr. Evans on the bike. Uh,
And I just want to walk back my comment about the sidewalk. I don't believe there's a sidewalk in front of that property because there are no
It's not.
adjacent sidewalks to the north or south, now that I think of it. There's
It's
no
not.
sidewalk
It's
now.
not. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, so
Uh,
it would not be there because it would be a sidewalk to nowhere.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. Right.
Okay, I asked because I missed the place and I was looking for the sidewalk. Well, no sidewalk there. So that's why I'm asking about the sidewalk. But getting back to the, when we were over there that particular day, you said, or I think it might have been Chief Golden said it, that when the storm came, the surge of the water came up over the wall and came into the fire station. How are you, now I know you said it, but once again, how are you going to protect that storm because you're on the ocean?
Well, currently, right now, the elevation of the station doesn't meet today's standard, and there is no wall in the back now. So with raising the elevation some 7 foot, with the sea wall that's being put in place or the retaining wall around it, that'll minimize the impact. We're not going to stop a 14-foot storm surge. It's just not going to happen. But currently today, we're not even talking about a storm. King tide on a full moon, we have salt water encroaching on our apparatus bay today. We drive our trucks through salt water every time there's a king tide or there's a full moon tide, and a $500,000, $750,000 truck doesn't like driving through salt water. So we spend a lot of time hosing down our apparatus because it inundates with water on the backside of that property regularly.
Another question, where, and you might have said it, maybe I didn't catch it. Because while we were there, I think you were showing us that there was no place for the firefighters to sleep, the ladies and the men.
Right.
Have you worked that out?
We have. Currently at the station that exists now, there are no individual facilities for male and females. You would share the same bathroom I do. You may be in the stall next to me. There is no shower for males or females. We share the same shower stalls, and the sleeping quarters now have partitions in between them, but you don't have your own individualized personal space, which has all been resolved with this new design to try to keep up with some of the trends and changes in society, and making sure women have their own private space, making sure men have their own private space, making sure those people that are in between have their own private space. These are the things that we're considering when we talk about a 50-year build.
No, I asked a question. Do you have a space in this particular, on the second floor?
Yes, ma'am. We have 6 individualized bedrooms now for each one of the firefighters to have their own space.
So they don't have to share bathrooms. You have,
No, ma'am.
you have it worked out for ladies. Oh, well, that's a good thing. I wouldn't want to be in there with a man.
We've been doing it since I started 25 years ago.
I know. No, I'm just saying.
I know. It's not fair to our females.
No, it's not.
It really isn't.
It's not. And I saw it when I was over there. And I think Chief Golden was saying, this is the way we live. And I thought it was deplorable that people have to live that way and they work and that type of job. And then going back to what Mr. Scott Lewis was talking about, the 3rd floor. Now, I know you said it, but what's up on the 3rd floor?
So if you look at this particular rendering, and I might let the architect speak to this, that glass area that's up above is actually, there's nothing there. That's architectural in nature. So where the red is where the fire station actually stops. Above that red line, that's just a decorative element to give it that old Florida Key West style with the louver look and some of the different features. But there is nothing up there.
Oh, so it's just, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that's all.
Thank you. Ms. Joseph?
All right, two-part question to that. Is there I know you guys have done a ton of revisions. Is there an option to have that second floor still have that old Florida feel design versus just having a third floor of nothingness? Does that make sense for the architect?
I'm sorry, can you rephrase the question?
Is there an option to have the existing second floor have that Florida architectural design versus having that third floor that doesn't account for anything, I guess?
Yeah, we looked at that, and it really came out kind of squatty, and there is equipment up there that we are utilizing it.
Okay.
But it's not actually an occupiable space that we classify as occupiable. So.
Okay, and then my second question is, speaking to the retaining wall, what material is that being made out of?
Concrete.
Concrete, okay. And then this question may be for you or staff. Are there other, are there surveys or things that we need to be in compliance with as it pertains to the wetland area once this is built?
Mr. Chair?
Who wants to try to tackle that one?
Hold on, Mr. Evans.
I can
Mr.
respond.
Evans.
So as a part of their application, they're required to complete a survey identifying the boundaries of the wetland area, and they had an environmental firm do that. And then they're required to provide an additional buffer beyond that wetland, and there's no construction allowed within the buffer area. So in this case, this project had to design so that they had no impact on the current boundary of the wetland, and that's including a buffer area that keeps any construction away from a minimum distance of 5 feet with a retaining wall or 10 feet where it doesn't have a wall.
That concludes my questions, Chair.
Mr. Fernandez?
I've got a couple of questions real quick. Chief Kurt, you mentioned cost increases with the tariffs. I'm assuming, and I hope so, that the city already locked in the contract price of the build and it's not subject to the price of new materials, correct?
We are very close. This is step one, and I believe we are on target for July 2nd to bring the GMP to council. But as of right now, we have a pretty good price locked in.
Okay, so we're going to get the price locked in before the council meeting?
The price will be given to council on July 2nd. That'll be the cost for the council to vote on.
It'll be locked in, correct?
Yes.
At that stage? Okay, also the elevation, that, as you stated earlier, that floods. You know the floods, I don't have to tell you.
Absolutely.
Is 7 feet enough of an elevation?
Yes, actually, when Mr. Bailey looked at it, we went above and beyond.
Terrence Bailey, city engineer. Understand, we don't have the opportunity to raise North Ocean A1A. So if the elevation for the building gets too differential from the elevation of the road, the fire truck can't get out and you'll bottom out. So we maximized how high we could put it and allow that truck to still get out without damaging the truck. But we are above the 100-year floodplain, but we're not talking about normal circumstances. We're talking about a hurricane that comes in at us on king tide, like stacking all of the potentiality of what would be the worst case for the next 50 years. And that's when we say we would have some standing water above the finished floor. So I'd like to, any normal rainstorm, frog choker on a Thursday, we're not gonna have water in the building, right? We are above the 500-year floodplain. So a third of the city will be underwater before that station in normal circumstances. We're talking Cat 5 hurricane at king tide with the moon, high in the sky scenarios. But that's how we run calculations, just so we all understand what if. So it's a very improbable circumstance, but we still run the calculations so that we know where we stand.
Okay, that was my question because I'm not sure if they're going to do any drainage improvement on North Ocean Drive in that area because those levers that they're going to be using to pump the water out, where is it going to go?
So understand after a hurricane, there'll be a window of time. The intercoastal will recede, whether it takes 4 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours, it will go back down and the water will go out through the mouth of the inlet. So all of the water will rise and all of the water will fall together. So they're not pumps necessarily in the bays. When the water recedes, all of it will run off and go back down, and North Ocean will be opened up again, and we'll sort of back to a normal scenario. Even on the West Coast, it didn't take 12-ish hours, if I recall correctly. So within 12 hours, and again, we all know that first 24 hours after the storm, everybody's hunkered down. So by the time you come out and open the door, you'll be able to see the road. This will be dried out, and then operations will go back to. There'll be protocols on how we start the fire station up again after an incident like that, but they'll go into that operation and soon resume normal operations in the station. So it's not so much of a concern because everything will rise and fall together.
Is that going to be Hurricane Cat 1, 2, or 3 or anything as far as construction?
So this is one of the things that we struggle with. The way the Florida Building Code is oriented, there's not a direct correlation between the wind speeds that are required for the roof and the glazing to a category, because the design in the Florida Building Code is a 3-second wind gust. I think it's 196 miles an hour, 3-second wind gust. Well, that's not how categories for hurricanes are rated. So we're kind of two different criteria. I think we're in to 210 mile an hour, 3-second wind gust, but that's not a Cat 5. It's not necessarily Cat 4. So it's hard to say what it actually is. It's as good as it's going to get, and we have faith and confidence that putting our public safety in that building, they will be good to go. So there's not a direct corollary between the building code's design criteria and a category of storm. The other thing being, remember, categories of storms are a range, right? There's about a 30 mile an hour wind range. So even that factor makes it difficult to say, oh, this is a Cat 3 building, this is a Cat 5 building. There's not a direct correlation in that nature. We all would love to do it. It'd be wonderful to say, but it doesn't work that way.
As long as it's protected, correct?
Yes, sir. It's high, it's tight, it'll be safe for them, and I'll leave it to the chief. They're not going to be there right now to storm.
Right. Traditionally, what ends up happening is when an evacuation order is given for the barrier island, we work to get everybody off the island. We come off of the island. If you all saw what happened in Hurricane Ian, when that chief opted to not evacuate his crews from the station, all of his trucks were in about 8 foot of water inside his apparatus bay. So during that window of time when the storm is upon us, our crews come off the island. As soon as conditions subside, we get right back out on the island and go to work.
Any setbacks on that? The setbacks are going to be the same as it is now? From the road? I mean, are you moving it closer to the road, or is it going to be the same setback that it is now, the new construction?
The face of this building is a little bit further east because, again, back to that ramp. Remember, we moved it back so we could get a little bit more down angle to get it up and then get the truck out. So I don't have the number off the top of my head, but yes, it is a little bit further away from the road in order to allow it to get higher and get the truck out.
Okay. And mobility, Chief, I know this is only a rendering. Is that enough room for the apparatuses to get in and out of? I mean, you're going to have one way in. Is that enough room for turnarounds inside?
We've looked at all of the figures and statistics on our turning radius for our apparatus, and this fits within that. Is it tight? Yes, but everything that we've looked at, all the documentation from the vehicle manufacturers, will allow us to make that turn come through and come out. Because while it is only a one-way, our apparatus would only come up this south side to the back and through the station. Only passenger vehicles will be allowed to continue through to the parking area, so we shouldn't experience any issues.
And now the main question is, we're going to be down a fire station on Singer Island for how long? Remember, you got to raise that one to rebuild the water tank. How long will this take? How long will Singer Island be without fire and ambulance.
So if approved, we always have to predicate everything with if approved. Right now, we are looking at the first quarter of 2028 for all 4 phases to be complete. As you heard, we've got to build the tank, build the pump house, commission it with the health department, switch it online, decommission the old tank, which again, you can imagine all that concrete and steel. And by the way, it's on piles too. Those piles have to come out. Then build the fire station. Right now, the commitment from Kaufman Lynn, if we can get them approval and a purchase order in July, we're looking at the first quarter of 2028. But, and I'll turn it over to the chief, you will not be without service for that entire time on the island. We're working a plan to provide a certain level of service during that interim.
When's that going out?
We're working on it.
Okay, so I've put together a robust plan for the meantime until our substation gets built. What we're going to do is we've looked at all of our call data and analytics, and we've looked at peak hours when we receive the most calls. We tend to see that between 8 in the morning and about 10:30 in the morning. Then we see it again at about 3:30 in the afternoon till about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Those are our peak hours. During that time, a rescue unit and or an engine will be stationed on the island during those peak hours. When they're not in peak hours, they will be back at Station 87, which is at City Hall. However, we have just recently, this past year, installed preemption lighting on all of our lights within the city of Riviera Beach. What that means to us is once we come out onto Blue Heron and we're going to the island, we get every green light all the way down to the island to minimize that response time. We're also working on a substation. The property that we're looking at right now is right behind the Greater Gator. There's a little law office back there. Looking at renovating that. It'll be a very small, simple renovation for crews to just be able to house there during the day. So they would report there at 8 o'clock in the morning, they would stay till 6 at night, and then they would sleep back at the main station at Station 87 until this is done.
So I guess the wine and cigar club we have planned for the 3rd floor, that's out.
I guess so.
Ms. Burgess.
Storage, it's gonna be storage.
I went already.
Mr.
Thank
Gallo.
you.
So to the architect,
Oh,
back again to this, I guess I would call it the lighthouse. It's just decoration. Is that it? Let the people know it's decoration.
That is correct, yeah.
Okay, somebody said you had a telescope and you'll be looking all over the,
Oh, come on.
you won't have chairs and beer up there.
We're gonna be here all night.
Yeah, no, there's, no, we had several design alternatives for that. And, you know, we had an open space, but, it becomes a maintenance nightmare. So we decided to close it up so that we wouldn't have maintenance issues. So it's more for longevity of the building, to go ahead and close it up because we did have just an open kind of a terrace. We had probably 10 different options. We looked at that, but we think this is going to be in the long term, the best solution for the city.
So nobody will be able to sleep up there or nothing. Is
No,
that what you're
no.
saying? Okay, I want to put it out there because, you know, people ask questions. I mean, you know, it's a beautiful building. It just, I don't know, just listening to you all talk about the water coming through that building. Chief, I was listening really good. The water coming through, what did you all call it, high tide or? king
You would
tide?
have king tide, yeah.
How often do you get the king tide?
We get it several times a year, maybe a half a dozen times a year, 3 to 6 times a year. It depends on the lunar cycle,
It
but
can sustain that building. This is what you're saying.
that building will have no issues with king tide. That building will have no issues with anything up to a Cat 3. Cat 4, Cat 5, listen, you get a Hurricane Ian that hits you, and look at the Bahamas. While we were designing all of this, 225 sustained winds in the Bahamas. Storms are getting bigger. Storms are getting stronger. We're building these buildings a little more robust than you would normally need to build them because we have to look 50 years out into the future. What we're seeing with the severity of hurricanes, the frequency of hurricanes, and weather events, it's just the reality of what we're seeing as far as climate and weather change.
Well, I know we have vetted out enough, but I remember the first year I moved here, I can't think of the name of the hurricane, and the island flooded out. I know you all say evacuate, but some of those people did not evacuate. And it was flooding over here. I mean, it was kind of terrible. Where Johnny Longboat was at, I mean, water was
Oh, yeah.
everywhere. I mean,
It's a barrier island.
yeah.
Just know if we get hit, and this, now I take off my fire chief hat and put my emergency manager's hat on. If we get hit in the face with a Cat 5 on Singer Island, it will be underwater.
Yeah. I didn't want to say that, but that's my greatest fear.
And that's what I have to think about this hurricane season. That's what we plan for, hoping it never happens.
Never happened. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all my
Yes, ma'am.
question.
Mr. Gallo?
My turn, huh?
Yeah.
I wanted to know, how come we couldn't find space to use the building that we just built for, Station 87 that's sitting there at Wells now, empty?
Thank you for the question. We looked at, as the manager said, we've spent about 5 years trying to resolve the issue of what to do about Fire Station 86. We have looked at every scrap of dirt east of Avenue H as a solution. The fundamental problem of leaving the island without a permanent presence, you're only one accident on the Blue Heron Bridge that locks up the bridge and you cannot get there. So it really became a not option to not have a physical permanent presence on the island. The alternative will be, and you can imagine, it's 20 plus minutes to go up Broadway to PGA and come down around from the top. We have a joke. When you say it's only 30 seconds extra time, lay on the floor, hold your breath for that 30 seconds, praying somebody comes for you. And that is the reality when it's your turn of how important those 30 seconds are every time we make a decision that could impact response time. So not having a physical presence on the island became a non-option given the reality of how many accidents happen on the bridge that shut down the bridge. And it always happens at the worst possible time when you really, really need to get to the island to support the services.
Now, my real question was, how come we couldn't use that building? Move it, like you just moved it there.
Right. Moved it to where?
Sing Island. Anywhere on Sing Island where there is available property.
Available space. As the manager said, right now, I believe he said that 2 acres for the bank was $10 million. So at $5 million an acre, and as you can imagine, Singer Island's pretty built out. There is no acre or two of dirt on the island. Not to mention the long-term economic costs of you now have taken that off the tax rolls. There are jobs and businesses and revenue and all the other economics that go into taking a property of that scale off the books. But we looked at all of them.
How long will that building sit there empty?
Which building?
The building that you built for 87.
Oh, no, Parks is
Yeah.
there. Parks moved in there a month and a half ago. So that building's already been reused by city staff for a different function. So it was only empty 2 weeks, 4 weeks or so. And now there's another department in there reusing that facility for a different function.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Brown?
No additional questions, Mr. Chair.
All right. Are there any other comments?
I think we've asked them all.
Disappointed in no wine room with the cigar, though. I'm really, really disappointed.
I think they can.
Storage, it's storage.
Storage.
It's storage. Never have enough storage.
All right, so do we have a motion?
I want to motion the approval of the site plan application SP 240028 as read into the record by Ms. Weathers, followed through by planners Juan Suarez, and an extensive, outstanding presentation by Chief Kurd, Mr. Evans, and everybody involved up here. Thank you, gentlemen. Great job.
Absolutely.
Second.
It has been properly motioned and second. Chair, are you ready for the vote?
Yes.
Board Member Shepherd?
Yes.
Board Member Joseph?
Yes.
Board Member Burgess?
Yes.
Vice Chair Fernandez?
Yes.
Chair Wiley?
Yes.
The vote passes unanimous vote, Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
thank you for allowing me to, put the vote, putting them last and let Robovich go forward, because I knew we were gonna have to ask a lot of questions. And I thank you for your time and your patience with us, because we don't live on the island. I don't know, on over there, but I want them to be safe like we're safe over here.